What's up, guys? Multiple takes here. Hopefully I get it right this time. For this demo, I'm going to be showing you what happens when you have a worn out lower receiver, specifically the hammer pinhole has egged out, and what that results in is a binary fire and what that looks like with the trigger mechanism. This is a standard AR-15 semi-auto trigger. This is the hammer, trigger, disconnector, hammer spring with the multi-winds, trigger spring with just a couple winds, and then the disconnector spring is in there under this. So under normal circumstances, this sear here is contacted with the hammer sear up inside here, this little tiny surface right there. So that tiny surface is caught on the trigger surface there. That's why they're both polished. And you don't want to mess with these surfaces because of the really small engagement that you have. So don't take a file to it, but you can polish them up if you want it a little smoother. That's where the grittiness comes from. And so the normal wear spots, you can see are the shiny spots. So that's when this hammer notch hits the disconnector here. And this is where it hits the firing pin. And this is where the top of the trigger rolls across the front here. I did shave this down. I had some light strikes from a CMMG kit. When it was coming up, it would just barely rub it and cause some light strikes. So it is okay to, file this down or grind it down, but you could end up with too light of a hammer and light strikes again. So this has never had an issue though, and so I'm going to be showing you what happens under normal fire. So as you pull the trigger down, these pins are fixed, and so when you pull the trigger down, it'll slip off of the sear, roll across the front. The hammer will hit the firing pin, and the bolt carrier will reciprocate, and you still have it pulled down, and it'll come and catch on the disconnector. And then what you hear when you have the reset is actually, letting off of the disconnector, and then it catches on the sears again. So the clunk clunk is like the snapping it off, and then catching on the disconnector falling, and it catching on the hammer and trigger sear surfaces. So what happens when you have this kind of egged out, you can see it's egged out this way a little bit, is this spreads a little bit, and when you fire normally, it'll catch on the disconnector, or hammer falls, fires, and it'll catch on the disconnector. But then since the distance is a little bit too big, it doesn't catch on the sear right there, and instead it'll fire again. And this time you've already let off the trigger, and so it could just keep going, but it'll usually catch on the trigger if it's not too worn out. You can see the distance here has been remedied on this side already one time after thousands of rounds. It'll only happen usually on these polymer receivers, and so you could put a metal epoxy and a metal plate in here and re-drill the pinholes, but probably best to just get a new one. So, hope that guys help you diagnose why you're getting some binary fire with the standard mil-spec trigger, and also shows you a little bit on how this works. So again, you don't want to file these surfaces. You can polish them if you'd like. Those are the two surfaces you're going to really polish up. And if your disconnector's a little gritty, those are the two surfaces on the reset. So I hope this guys help, and hope guys this helped, and I'll see you on the next one.